Hey, Tori.
Hey.
When you look back at where you were 2 years ago, 3 years ago, did it hit you at all driving to the ballpark today that there's a World Series game being hosted here at Chase?
A little bit. It hits me the same way every time I think about it, and it wasn't limited to the drive today. I am grateful and appreciative of everything that this organization did for me through those dark times. I could have been fired on the spot after losing 110 games as the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks, but they believed in me, and it makes me extremely motivated to go out every single day to do the best that I can for this organization. So I do have to pinch myself every once in a while. I was up super early this morning. I couldn't sleep for the obvious reasons, and it was centered around the excitement of walking into the stadium today and being in front of these fans and saying that we're in Game 3 of a World Series, and we're trying to do our best to win a game for them, for us, for this whole community, this whole state, and I'm very proud of that.
Over here on the left side.
Yeah, Tori, there's a note that the roof is going to be open tonight, and through the years, the roof's been a point of contention for some pitchers. And do you prefer it that way? And does the ballpark play any differently with the roof open to you?
I know that some have said when it's open, the ball carries a little bit more. As long as we know the landscape and we walk into the ballpark and nothing changes and there's no fast punches being thrown, whether we're at home or on the road, I'm fine with it. I look at a lot of park-adjusted numbers, especially for balls that are hitting certain areas of this ballpark, and I know it does not carry well from gap to gap in the middle of the diamond. And even when it's open, it plays legit. So it doesn't matter to me, and as long as both teams know and it's the same playing field, we're going to go out there and get it done.
Second row on the right.
Hi, Tori.
Hey.
Daniel Alvarez from El Extra Base. What has impressed you the most about Gabby Moreno during this run, considering how young he is and this being his first full season in the big leagues?
His heartbeat, his ability to emotionally stay at one level despite any type of circumstance, and those are the things that I get to see. The common denominator for what you guys watching the game and what I get to see from watching the game is that he's a really good baseball player, and he knows what he's trying to do every single pitch when he's at the plate, and he knows what he's trying to get to with his pitchers every single pitch. So to me, that's maturity, and it's taken its course this year. When he first got here, I'm sure it was a little overwhelming. We have a lot of concepts. Every team does. We're not reinventing the wheel here. Everybody does the same thing, and it took him a little while to get our concepts down. And since mid-season, then he got banged up a little bit, but since mid-season, things started to really come into place for him. But the thing that stands out to me is more of his emotional stability every single night.
Derek on the left.
Tori, I wanted to ask about Dave McKay. What has his experience at this time of year and the number of times he's been in the postseason, how has that helped you? And how has his expertise, given, decades as a first base coach, helped your stolen base efficiency?
Yeah. I've been around a lot of great coaches. I've had a lot of unbelievable coaches as a manager, and he is hands down the best coach that I've ever been around for 1,000 reasons. A couple I'll get a chance to talk about right now. His experience when it comes to postseason baseball, things leading up to postseason baseball, the grind of losing streaks during the middle of a season, the readiness of what he's trying to get the players to get to in spring training. He always has a really, really distinct, very pointed message, and it's not always the same message. It's a very well-timed, very well-thought-out message for what will help these players peek around the corner and make sure that they're ready to go. And I give him that platform. He always runs it by me. I've never said no to him, so every time we meet with the players in our pregame advance meeting, he will drive home some very, very important messages about this ball club and what we can do to go out and compete. When it comes to his stolen base record, it makes my life so easy because all I have to do is put the red light on, green light on, and that's really the signs that I'm giving. And there's some nonverbal communication between he and I, and then he takes it from there. But there's a preparedness and a system that he has that everybody knows and respects, And you'll see him starting probably about right now, walking around with his iPad and telling everybody this is what's going on, heads up, and this is where we're going to exploit certain things in certain ways. And he doesn't let up on that. It could be a day game in Detroit, or it could be game 2, game 3 of the World Series. He's going to be the same guy every single day.
Second row on the right.
Hi, Tori. My Deportes here. What's the best that impressed you about Marte and Perdomo this year in the middle infield, especially Perdomo, that he taken over the shortstop this whole year, been doing a great job.
Yeah. We wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for both of those players, in particular Perdomo, who stepped in a situation where we had 2 everyday shortstops with he and Nick Ahmed, and then once we moved on from Nick, Perdomo's really taken off. And I'm just reminded of their ability to execute. If you look at the ground ball double play that they turned with lefty Nelson pitching in Texas, I think it was in the bottom of the 10th inning. Watch that play. That'll tell you about their skill set. And I don't need to say anything else. These kids get after it defensively. They're simpatico. They know where each other is without even saying anything. And they're just great teammates. And offensively, Ketel's been extremely consistent all year long. We count on him to do different things than Perdomo, but Perdomo's been rising offensively as well and had some critical at-bats here in the postseason that's helped us win some games.
Jack.
Tori, there's a bit of a groundswell on social media to give Christian Walker the Trey Turner treatment, help get him going.
All right.
With or without the bat coming around, can you just speak to how important Christian's been on and off the field, accountability, playing defense, all of that?
Yeah, he's everything we want from an Arizona Diamondback, right? He holds himself accountable. He holds his teammates accountable. He works as hard as anybody that you see out there. And, example, doesn't miss a day of ground balls, despite being known as somebody that can hit 30 home runs and drive in 104 or 5 runs. He wants to be a complete baseball player, and that means a lot to this organization. I know that he's been grinding offensively. I feel like there was a couple really good at-bats in Game 2 that led me to think that when it's his turn, he's going to get hot and he's going to carry this ball club. And we've seen that at times. But, every once in a while you got to hand it off. Somebody else has got to drive the bus, and some of the boys around him have been driving the bus, and we'll wait for him offensively to get that thing moving. But, look at the hands play that he made on the ball that hit the bag. It was just a reaction play. Didn't surprise me. He's been doing it all year long. You can't throw a ball by him. He picks everything at first base, and that's a product of the hard work and the belief that he's going to get the job done.
Barry.
Hey, Tori.
Hi, Bear.
What's your plans for Game 4? I mean, in the Philly series, you started Mantle Ply, and obviously Schwarber, Harper are left-handed batters, top of the lineup. Here you have Seager, but Texas is pretty predominantly right-handed. Do you think about going with a right-handed opener, or what are you going to do?
Don't forget about Carter. He's a really good player too. He's definitely on our radar. So I don't know that answer. We gotta figure that out. I want to see what their last several left-handed facing left-handed pitcher lineups have look like, what they've looked like. But I'll probably do that at some point tonight after the game. And I don't know. I don't know what that answer is. But we have a couple bulk guys that we know of in our bullpen. And, Don Dreisel's not going to fall out of the sky. It's going to definitely be somebody in our bullpen that's going to start the day tomorrow. Who it is and where it is depends on how we get through here today.
Nor John Smoltz either, huh?
Oh, he's around.
Yeah,
I might ask
exactly.
him.
You might ask him.
Good splitter.
So on Pfaadt, we ask you this over and over again.
Yeah.
He's 70.
Yeah.
What's the leash on him? Are you going to maybe let him go a little longer?
We got to win a baseball game today, and if we're in a position to win, I'm all in on that. And I'll just read and react. I know that it's worked, and I'll keep saying it, 18 plus or minus 4, and we'll see how the game is going. But it's a pivotal game, and we know that we got to go out and play our finest game. And if we do, and we're in a spot to win, I'm going to go all in, and we'll worry about tomorrow.
Bob in the middle towards the back.
Hey, Tori, going back
Hi,
to
Bob.
2001, you remember watching the World Series? Did you watch Game 7? I know you're working with Cleveland, but I don't remember where you were living.
Yeah, I was I was living in Southern California, and believe it or not, I was at a Lakers game, and I was just watching some updates. And I don't remember, you didn't get, cell phones were just starting out at that time, right? You don't have it on your phone. And there were updates in and around me. I don't know who was getting them or how they were getting them. And I remember the guy in back of me saying, the D-backs have a chance. They're down by 1. I said, well, what inning is it? And he said the 9th. And I said, they do have no chance. You're wrong, because Mariano Rivera is going to be in this game. And then 20 minutes later, somebody stood up and said the D-backs just won the World Series. So that's my memory of it. And I know it was an exciting time for everybody here in the Valley. I do remember coming here as a coach for the Arizona Fall League a couple years after that, and they were still talking about how exciting that was. So, you know, getting back to Mark's question, right? I mean, that's us. That's us right now, and that feels really good. It feels really good to know that we're having that impact on this community.
Ron?
Looking back, the 2002 version of yourself in Georgia, what were the aspects of managing you were most unaware of back then? And over the 20-something years, how has the job, aside from you, changed?
Oh, man, you ask really good questions. You ask good, deep questions. Like, give me some time to think about it. Yeah, this right here, this throws me off, right? I'm sitting in front of you guys before a World Championship Series, and, you know, sitting in front of a group of really smart journalists is not easy, and trying not to sound like a fool it's hard for me. But yeah, so the preparedness, I would say that dealing with this side of it, of course, is the obvious one. But I probably didn't have my baseball clock on for the first several years, starting in 2002 in Columbus, Georgia. I would get thrown off by something that would happen an inning or two ahead, and I used to get mad at myself going to bed that night for feeling like I was unprepared and letting the team down because I wasn't able to project the game ahead as far as I needed to. So I got on this quest early in my managerial career to ask questions of managers that would actually sit and talk to me about what their philosophy is. And some managers were 2 or 3 innings ahead. Some were thinking about the 9th inning and the 1st inning. So I just had to find out what my range was and where I had to go, about how forward I had to be when I was thinking about the game. I've been the same guy, believe it or not. You could probably go back and ask those players on that team if I was a relationship guy, tried to connect players, tried to connect the team. So that didn't change a lot. But there were so many experiences that I had inside of the baseball world, baseball game, that you couldn't prepare yourself for. So I wouldn't trade the 10 years in player development for anything. Not one day of it. Of course, I wished I was in the big leagues as a staff member, but my daughter asked me the same question yesterday. She said, was it worth every bus ride, every tough moment, now that you're sitting here in this situation? I said, 100% yes. I would not trade it for the world.
All right, thanks, Tori.
Thanks,
we'll
you guys.
see you post-game.
Okay, we'll see you.
Hey, Corbin, anything different for you about driving into the park knowing that Chase Field is hosting a World Series game today?
Yeah, more excited than usual. It's going to be a fun day.
Over here on the left side.
Corbin, the roof hasn't been open too many times this year, but it's open tonight. Just in the outfield, does it play differently in your eyes and your perspective?
Yeah. Ball carries a little more. But, I like that.
Teo on the left.
Corbin, you said after the NLCS that you maybe didn't fully appreciate how cool this was because it was your first year and you didn't have the experience of sitting at home watching Octobers as a professional. Now that you've played 2 World Series games, has it hit you how unusual and how cool this is?
Yeah, I think that the first part of what I said when I said that was, I do really appreciate it, but maybe not as fully as some of the other guys who have had that experience. That was kind of my only point there, but, definitely, excited and appreciative of just the opportunity, right? The opportunity to play these games, to play them in Arizona in front of our fans, and bring that baseball to Arizona.
Derek?
Corbin, as an outfielder and as a base stealer, I'm sure you spent a lot of time with Dave McKay. I wondered what he's brought to your game with his experience at this level, but also specifically what his maybe enthusiasm or his experience in October meant to you, maybe during some of the losing streaks or when the team struggled.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about this in detail, but you know, he's meant a lot to me. He's taken, you know, an incredible amount of time. You know, when I was just a minor leaguer, and I think we went 3 months straight of, you know, 5 days a week, 4 days a week, you know, working with him. And he doesn't have to do any of that. But that's who he is. He's a teacher and just loves the game more than anyone. And so I hope some of that has rubbed off on me. I think it has. And then in terms of his experience, you know, playing in World Series and having those postseason runs, you know, during the season and some of those tough moments you talked about, as well as once we got here, he's had, you know, just some wisdom to share with us. You know, he's written some stuff down and kind of brought it up during the meetings, and I think that it's given valuable insight.
A few more for Corbin. Jack, over here in the second row.
How important is it to stay off Dave's famous sheet that is hanging up there with the marks for both good and bad base running plays?
Yeah, you know, you hope that, you know, the ones you want to stay away from for sure are the effort ones, right? The negative effort ones, but it's a learning tool. You know, he'll throw stuff up there that will make you even wonder, like why is that even an issue? But you know, it might spark a conversation, or you know, just a learning point, or just kind of keep you on the tracks of like, hey, you know, that turn wasn't really that bad, but it could be better. You know, let's stay on it. So you know, it's a good tool that he uses.
Last one's for Corbin. Take one more. Alex in the front.
Hey, Corbin, how would you describe Christian as a leader in the clubhouse?
Yeah, he's become one of our more vocal leaders during meetings and such, but it's also the little efforts, you know, that are maybe a little bit more subtle that he's good at as well. You know, a quick interaction in the locker room, whatever it is, you know, going and saying, you know, good game to someone after they had a good game. It's the little stuff like that too that he's really good at.
All right, Corbin, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Hi, Gabby. What do you think is your biggest improvement developmentally behind the plate?
¿Qué ha sido tu desarrollo detrás del platillo? ¿Cuál ha sido el avance más grande?
El avance más grande que yo he sentido que me ha ayudado mucho, ¿verdad? La confianza. La confianza que yo he tenido a la hora de estar detrás del plato, y la confianza que me ha dado todo el equipo y los pitchers. Yo creo que esa ha sido la pieza muy importante.
Mainly the confidence and the trust that the team has given to me, as well as the starting pitchers and the bullpen pitchers.
Daniel, second row on the right.
Gabriel, hablaba tu manager, Lovullo, hace unos minutos, de que lo que le ha impresionado es cómo te has mantenido tranquilo en las distintas situaciones de presión, y que después de la segunda mitad las cosas realmente empezaron a salir bien para ti. ¿Hay algo en específico a lo que le atribuyas ese cambio? Y si hubo algún momento en la temporada en el que realmente sintieras que todo hizo clic y las cosas cambiaron.
Tori mentioned a few minutes ago about his ability to stay calm in these pressure situations. In the second half, it seemed like he kind of even took an even bigger leap forward. Is there anything in particular that might have been the key for that?
Bueno, sí, verdad. El momento que yo estuve afuera por 3 semanas, de verdad traté de liberar la mente y enfocarme en lo que de verdad necesitaba. Traté de hacer, hice ajustes de toda clase, de verdad mentalmente, de bateo, de defensa. Y yo creo que al darme cuenta de que lo que estaba haciendo traté de hacer hice ese ajuste y de verdad esa creo que ha sido lo más así.
Mainly when I was on the IL for about 3 weeks or so, I was able to kind of step back, the mental aspect, and kind of refocus myself as far as what type of player I am. And mainly it was the mental side during that break.
Tyler on the left side.
Yeah, I know you were traded on December 23rd. Where were you? How did you get the news? And what was your reaction? And how did it impact Christmas?
Diciembre 23 que te dieron la noticia que fuiste intercambiado. ¿Dónde estabas en ese momento que te dieron la noticia?
En ese momento estaba jugando play y nada, cuando yo recibí la llamada, de verdad pensé que era para darme la feliz Navidad, pero nada, me dieron la noticia y verdad no me lo esperaba en realidad.
¿En casa?
En casa, Venezuela.
So I was at home in Venezuela actually playing PlayStation. I thought I was going to receive a phone call to kind of wish me happy holidays, but it was the news of the trade.
Fourth row.
¿Quién te llamó?
El gerente.
General manager.
Fourth row in the middle.
So, Gabby, we've heard a couple of times from some of your pitchers this week that they feel like you're 23 going on 33. Where do you think that comes from on your end and just the maturity that you've shown this year? And what does it mean to know that those guys trust you that much that they may even think you're a little older than you are?
Los lanzadores nuestros han mencionado que aunque tengas 23, pareces que tienes 33. ¿Qué significa que ellos tengan esa impresión de ti, de esa madurez?
De verdad, me costó mucho trabajo, en realidad, en el aspecto de como catcher. Eso es una de las prioridades que uno mayor como catcher tiene, ¿verdad? De obtener esa confianza de cada jugador, no exactamente de los pitchers, de todo el equipo en realidad, del manager, de todos los coaches, que te den esa confianza de que tú te sientas como en casa, de que hacer todo con seguridad, que ellos confíen en ti, de verdad. Yo creo que eso es lo que yo traté de que llegué a un principio en sprint training y de verdad eso es el fruto que me ha dado.
It was something that I had to really work on, just being able to have that trust with the pitchers. I arrived early in spring training. That was one of the main things I focused on, not only for the pitchers, but the entire team to have that confidence and trust in me.
Third row on the right.
You were playing on PlayStation when you got the call. First question, then second question. Was there anything different driving into the ballpark today when Chase Field is hosting a World Series game?
Si recuerdas cuál videojuego en particular estabas jugando cuando te dieron la noticia. Y la segunda pregunta es la emoción, el sentimiento ahora un día como hoy, manejando hacia el estadio.
Yo estaba jugando FIFA y... Estaba jugando FIFA y bueno, de verdad, cuando esa semana que yo todavía no me lo creía que me habían cambiado, pero... traté de cambiar los planes y de verdad seguir trabajando porque de verdad yo me enfoqué mucho en la temporada muerta, trabajar mi físico y de verdad yo siento que todo el trabajo que yo hice ahora estamos aquí en la Serie Mundial y yo creo que se vio el resultado.
I was playing FIFA at the time, and it kind of took me about a week or so to kind of let it sink in, kind of understand that I had been traded. So in the offseason, I really focused on the physical side, developing my physical side.
On the left side in the middle.
Jugaste más de 100 partidos en la temporada regular, pero sabemos que el escenario de la Serie Mundial es otro. Te ves muy maduro en el home plate, en tu juego, con solo 23 años. ¿Cómo estás haciendo, si tienes algún mentor que te ha ayudado para llegar a ese nivel de madurez que tienes?
You played in over 100 games during the regular season, but the postseason is a completely different season. Has there been someone in particular that you've kind of reached out to, that's helped you out to have that type of maturity?
Bueno, gracias a Dios me considero como una persona muy amigable. O sea, de verdad, yo tengo muchos amigos del béisbol y de verdad todos en realidad me han escrito, me han felicitado, ¿verdad? Me dan consejos, o sea, cosas que puedo hacer mejor, cosas que no debo hacer, de verdad. Mayormente yo creo que todos los amigos que yo he tenido, gracias al béisbol, me han estado ahí para eso. Y los coaches también, claro.
Thank God, I've always kind of considered myself a very personable individual, someone who has a lot of friends. So there's been various people and friends that have reached out to me throughout the season to kind of congratulate me and give me advice along the way.
Second row on the right.
Moreno, Mike Deportes aquí. Dice un dicho que no hay mal que por bien no venga. Te cambian de Toronto a Arizona, estás hoy en la Serie Mundial. Tú mencionas que juega mucho PlayStation. ¿Alguna vez jugaste tú mismo con tu propio jugador en una Serie Mundial y hoy estás viviendo ese sueño?
There's sometimes an old adage, an old saying that sometimes, you know, something good can come out of maybe something that might appear that might be a negative. At the time when you're playing PlayStation, did you ever play as yourself in the video game?
Bueno, yo creo que la pelota en el play es un poquito diferente, porque yo cuando creaba los jugadores, me creaba yo, jugaba, bateaba 500 con 50 jonrones y a veces ni me subían ahí. Pero no, yo mayormente, claro, uno como niño siempre sueña con estar aquí en la Serie Mundial y de verdad es el trabajo que uno ha venido haciendo, de verdad yo me siento muy contento por eso y de verdad debe ser increíble lo que yo siento, pero esto no se acaba todavía, nosotros estamos jugando para obtener el título y vamos a seguir.
Playing PlayStation is kind of a completely different thing. When I would play early on, I would kind of, on player mode, create myself, and when I would play, I would put up amazing stats, you know, hit 500, 50 home runs, etc. But it's a different dynamic. But now we're here, we're trying to reach that title, and we're not finished yet.
Right up here in the front.
Gabriel, saludos. Apenas este es tu segundo año en las Grandes Ligas, un jugador bastante joven, en un rol además protagónico, pero también esta es tu segunda organización. Quiero preguntarte, ¿qué te dejó tu paso por los Azulejos de Toronto que puedas estar, por supuesto, poniendo en práctica en esta Serie Mundial en tu primer año con los Cascabeles de Arizona?
Second season in the big leagues, and now with your second team, you're a key piece to this roster. Is there anything you took away from Toronto that might have helped you here?
Sí, de verdad, Toronto fue el equipo que me firmó y de verdad todos los coaches de allí, todos los compañeros que yo tengo de ahí, de verdad yo todavía sigo teniendo una fuerte relación con ellos y yo creo que esa confianza no es todo el desarrollo que yo estuve ahí en la organización, yo creo que fue gracias a todos los coaches, de verdad todo fue de mi parte, ¿verdad? Pero el enfoque que yo tenía, ¿verdad? Vi que todos los coaches me querían ayudar y de verdad yo con todos los coaches ahí, con todos los jugadores y estoy muy agradecido con ellos. Yo creo que eso ha sido la mejor parte para mí.
Toronto was the team that signed me. I still have a very close relationship with the players, with coaches. My development there was key. I put in the effort, I put in the work, and I'm very grateful for all the coaches and teammates that I'm very close to still that helped me out along the way.
Staying here in the front.
Gabriel, para festejar en casa hay que ganar 3 compromisos al hilo. ¿Qué representa para ustedes hoy enfrentar a Max Scherzer?
To be able to kind of close it out, you have to win 3 in a row here at home. What's it going to be like facing Max Scherzer?
Sí, de verdad, nosotros vamos con el mismo plan, jugar juego tras juego, picheo tras picheo y nada, de verdad, esto es la pelota, tú nunca sabes lo que vaya a pasar, pero nosotros vamos a seguir haciendo nuestro trabajo, jugar nuestra pelota como la hemos venido jugando y nada, pues hacer nuestro trabajo.
Going in with the same plan, do our job, do what we've been doing, pitch by pitch, game by game, and we're just coming out here to do our job.
We'll finish up with Hazel on the right.
Gabby, during the transition, was there much of a philosophical difference in receiving going from Toronto to Arizona?
En la transición de Toronto hacia acá, ¿había quizás una diferencia de las organizaciones filosóficamente quizás que notaste?
Claro, diferente, ¿verdad? Son dos organizaciones diferentes. Toronto es, ¿cómo te digo? Ya yo, como estaba acostumbrado allá, a lo mejor no hallaba cómo era la manera aquí de cómo trataban a los peloteros y eso, pero o sea, cuando yo llegué aquí, de verdad, todo era un poco diferente, o sea, el trato, o sea, la atención que le tenían a uno, ¿verdad? Todo fue muy diferente.
There were some differences, obviously. Perhaps when I was in Toronto, I got accustomed to the way things were operated, the way we were treated and so forth. So once I came over here, there was an adjustment. It took me a minute to be able to kind of observe how players are treated and so forth.
All right, thanks, Gabby. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.